right, I'm hanging out with Lee Miller Matsos today. Hi, Lee, how are you?
Great, Sarah. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're so glad you're here. And Lee has his big EP release show this coming Friday, September 8th. And go ahead and just share with us a little bit about your album. I know it's called Metamorphosis, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
yes.
Go ahead and share with us about it.
Yeah, so this is music that I mostly wrote in 2020 during the COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of spare time there. But yeah, I actually wrote it while I was in music school in Prince Edward Island, of all places.
Okay.
And so the music is very much about going through a transformation in life, and that's kind of where the metamorphosis theme came from, mm-hmm. with the butterfly. So it's the music was this big creative burst that I had. I wrote about 15 songs in a few months, and it really just felt like it was honestly like I was channeling it from somewhere else. It kind of just spilled out all at once, and it was really an awesome thing.
And do they all have that same theme of metamorphosis?
There's definitely interconnected themes in the songs. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of them I feel are related to my experience. Mm-hmm. A lot of them come from difficult things like grief and loss, but there's this overarching message of hope that kind of ties all the songs together. And I think one of the major themes of this music is the concept that that we need to go through difficulties in order to grow.
Yeah.
Just like the caterpillar goes into the cocoon, it's a very difficult thing to go through. You know, we don't think about that aspect. We just see butterflies and they're so
right.
beautiful. But what did it have to go through to get there? And I think we're kind of the same way, with needing to go through really difficult things sometimes in order to become who we're supposed to become. So that's what came out in this music, and honestly I really didn't plan that. It just kind of came out that way.
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful and really timely, because I think we do live in a culture somewhat who, you know, we want things kind of easy, we want things to be good all the time, and sometimes it is those really hard situations that make us into who we're going to be. I was just talking to a lady who lost her daughter, and through that situation she now helps other people, and so yeah, it's just really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about you as a musician. Who are you, and what kind of music do you play? If someone's watching this and they're like, oh, I might want to go out to that. So tell us about that.
Well, a little bit about my background, I guess, for context. Yeah. I come from opera and musical theater originally, is what I did. So I grew up in Worcester, and I attended the Ohio Light Opera there every summer, which is kind of a summer stock opera company. So mm-hmm. I was really in that world until I was in my 20s, and then realized there were other styles of music that I liked more, like pop.
That's actually some of my story.
Okay.
I went to Kent State for voice performance and studied opera, and then came out and I have done other kinds of music, so that's kind of cool. Wow. We have a little bit of similarity there, and I know the Ohio Light Opera very well, so keep sharing.
Yeah, so yeah, I started to listen to some bands like Coldplay is kind of a big one, was a big influence on this music, but yeah, very kind of emotional ballads, pop rock style. I really felt a deep connection with that, because I feel like it has that kind of emotional edge that, you know, that opera musical theater can have, but it also has, you know, it also has more drive and more mass appeal to it. And, you know, there's something really exciting about a band that can fill up stadiums for like 2 weeks in a row.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's something, you know, really special about music that can do that. So I think that really captivated me as far as the direction that I wanted to go. And so basically I listened to that music. I listened to a lot of U2, one of my big favorite bands, but it just sort of, I feel like all of that kind of internalized, for a period of time, and then ultimately, when the time was right, I started to write songs myself in that kind of a style. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As you were talking before you said U2, I was thinking about U2 because they're so like universal in wanting to get these amazing like big themes about life out there, right? And I know that's kind of where your music is directed towards a little bit. So that's really exciting. You're having an EP release.
Yes.
On Friday. And so tell us a little bit about where that's going to be located, what time, what other bands are going to be there.
Yeah, so it's going to be at the Rialto Theater in Kenmore, which is one of the best venues that we have around in Northeast Ohio. So it's really exciting.
Great place.
And I was, pleasantly surprised that they invited me just because it's my first live performance at a music venue. So I was really flattered and just really excited about the opportunity. I'm going to be performing with the AKRONAUTS and also with Wonderhead. So they're going to be performing, and then I'm going to be performing after that with a band with 3 other guys that are all amazing.
That's awesome.
And so doors will be at 7 p.m. on Friday, September 8th, and our sets will start at about 9. But I would love to have everybody come out and get there as soon as you can. Yeah.
Yeah. Where can people get tickets for the show?
So on the Rialto website is the best place to go, and also I have links on my social media. So my Instagram, which is Lee Music, and my Facebook page, Lee Miller Matsos. You will see a link there in my bio that goes right to the tickets.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you sent me a link to the EP, but if other people are interested in listening to it, where can they find that?
So I am in the process of getting those hard copies, those CDs produced. So I'm excited about that, and those will be released in the next month or so. I will have some available at the concert on the 8th. And I'm also going to release the music on the same day on Spotify and Apple Music and all the streaming platforms. So
it'll release on September 8th. People will be able to find that.
It will all be there along with my 2 singles, my 3 singles that are already out, and one of them is on the EP. But yeah, there will be a total of 8 of my songs out there. So really exciting to be pushing it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Lee. It was really great talking with you and just hearing your passion for music. We're going to end with, if someone is passionate about music and they're thinking about putting their music out there, what advice would you give to them?
I'll keep it simple, I guess, as simple as possible, but just to go for it, because I know for a while there were a lot of fears and things that were holding me back. There's a lot of risk and sacrifice that it takes to pursue any kind of a career in music or in any artistic field. So I completely understand that, and I've had to kind of work through that in my own life and come to terms with that. So all of those fears are going to be there, and I would just say to try as best you can to not listen to those who advocate for those fears, and instead surround yourself by people who encourage you and your talent and your abilities and your dream. Surround yourself with those people and believe in what's possible.
Right. So. I love that. Put one foot in front of the next. Maybe you're not going to go all the way in one day. Probably not, right? You're probably not going to be found on YouTube in one day. Right. But if you just keep going for it, it could happen. Right. And in the process is part of the journey, right? Are you enjoying the process?
I am. It's a difficult one, but it is rewarding to have opportunities like this at the Rialto as an example, and to be to get to perform with great musicians, and you don't know what can happen if you try.
Absolutely.
It's really cool.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned. We've got more great stuff coming up.